Welcome, our cherished listeners, to another exciting episode of the Student Pension Pulse podcast. Pensions may seem far off, but for some student workers, the journey starts now. Today, we are touching on the topic, a student perspective, navigating SSNIT pensions. I am your host, Michael Naawa.
I'm also your host, Domprey Davidson.
And we have a gentleman here who is a student worker and a marketing strategist in Valley View Real Estate Services. And he's by name
Reynolds Osei.
Thank you, Reynolds Osei. We are really pleased to have you on our podcast today.
Before we dive in, how has your day been balancing school and work?
It's been really tough. I'm not going to lie. I think the mental strain that going to and fro from work and coming in, having to prepare yourself both physically and mentally for class hours and long lectures, it hasn't been quite easy, but you have to do what you have to do as a student and always remain focused.
As a student worker, right, what motivated you to enroll on SSNIT pension, and how was the process for you?
The process was really, really smooth. I had help, particularly with my older brother who has been through that process before. So me kind of getting in wasn't particularly difficult for me. And the whole idea of me rolling on the pension scheme, as you said, it has many benefits.
Many students, workers don't think about pension, Do you really think it's essential, and do you think there's value to it? Like, do you think it's important?
As you said, most students don't really think it's important because I feel like most of them don't actually know about it. I think a good job on educating the students on how beneficial it is would be a first step. But also, I would like to put in my input and say from my perspective that it's really, really important. I think enrolling on such a scheme like this has many potential benefits, such as in the future, particularly any storm that comes your way. This pension scheme can kind of be your blanket in times of difficulty.
Okay.
So balancing work and studies is tough. How does pension deduction affect your finance as a student worker?
It is tough, as you said. It does affect finance, as you said. There has to be a sort of monthly stipend, if that's the word I can use, that you input into the whole pension scheme. But to be honest, it isn't really that crazy. And it isn't difficult per se, or it doesn't put so much stress on my finances as a student. So that's from my perspective, but it may differ from other people.
So if I get you correct, you are employed in an organization, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so which means that you're under the tier 1, which says by law it's mandatory for your company that you work under to pay your SSNIT for you. So you being a worker and a student, and considering the fact that you're also paid, is your pay enough for it to be deducted from SSNIT?
That's a very good question. Without delving much into the details, because they said never ask a man his salary.
Yeah, I know.
Let me just say that it's more than enough. Also adding the fact that I work for a real estate agency that deals in high-end apartments at, let's say, places like East Legon and Chadwick. So with me, pay is never a problem. But as I said, I'll leave it vague for now.
Oh, okay. On the flip side, what benefits do you see in contributing to SSNIT Tier 1 as a young worker?
The main benefit, as I always say, that I think it should be the marketing scheme for most students. I'll say it serves as a blanket for the future.
Yeah, I agree.
I think as students, being as young as we are, the future should always be at the back of our minds. So with this pension scheme, it serves as a blanket for our future in case of any storm that approaches.
Okay, so do you think Ghana's pension system should do more to educate and support student workers? If so, how?
They should do more to support student workers. I think I have to think on how do we have to do it, but I think they should. I think the first thing that they will have to do, I think, is marketing. From my perspective, because I feel like a lot of students, I'll say 80%, practically don't know about this. I think maybe I'm overreaching here, but from my perspective, I feel most students don't know about this.
Do you think they feel they are not ready at that age? For example, let's say he doesn't have maybe quick flow of monthly income, expenses are high. No students will always have this kind of expenditures coming in at any time. Do you feel that it's because of that? That's why the students feel or ignore the fact that there's pension, or they don't actually know about it.
From a perspective, as you just said,
Yes.
some don't know about it, and the some that do, their finances actually aren't enough to cover it. Because I think you can both agree with me when I say some students also pay for their school fees.
Yeah.
Some students, they look after themselves. Some students are also renting.
Yeah.
So when you count in all of these difficult challenges or pillars that affect their finances negatively, it makes it difficult for them to lean into the pension scheme.
I would still like to remind our listeners that you are still tuned into Student Pension Pulse podcast. Today we have in our midst a student worker and also market strategist for Valley View Real Estate Services. And he's here with me by name Reynard Osei. Quick one here. If I got you right. So you are advocating for students who are working in an institution to be enrolled on student pension due to the fact that you believe that it's a right thing to do just to secure your future. And you know, I feel like there should be rather policies, okay, which because that's what I think. I feel like the government should implement policies to force students, okay, to be enrolled on pension, or to even implement a student pension scheme designated for only students, so as to, if in case there's I am like, let's say I'm a student, I work, I'm self-employed, and I'm an entrepreneur. So, and I feel like I want to pay for my pension. I can start early. You get me? So I also feel like government can implement policy around that to make it mandatory for students to also secure their future early. What do you think about that?
That's a really good idea. I'm not going to lie to you, but in the implementation of policy, everything is about implementation and how you do it right. Because if you make it a policy in a way, it's kind of forcing the students. If I'm not entirely, I won't say particularly forcing, but making it mandatory for
because the whole
students.
concept is to get them to secure their future.
Precisely, but as I said, implementation is key.
Yeah.
So you have to make the benefits. So you have to make the benefits in a way that relates to them and helps them.
Quick question, What would you tell students, workers who don't pay attention to state? Because we know that we are more focused on our academics and then chilling, going out. Yeah. So what advice do you have for students who have not really geared their focus on student pension?
The advice I have for any student who hasn't enrolled on this scheme, which is fair enough, because as you say, we are students and we are focusing on studies and chilling. It will help. I'm not going to lie to you, because we don't know the future. Anything can happen. So what I advise you is, if your finances are able to allow you to have that daily or monthly deduction from your salary to help with that pension, I think you should enroll on it, because
I agree.
you have no idea what's coming in the future. I think that's my main selling point I'll use.
Thank you so much, Reynard Osei, who is a marketing strategist and Valley View Real Estate Services. And he has been very insightful today, and we want to thank you for coming on our podcast. I am your host for Student Pension Pulse, and here with my co-host,
Don Bray Davidson. Thank you for tuning in to Students Pension Pulse.
And we'll come your way another time with another exciting topic which has to do with pensions.
Stay tuned for more episodes.
And have a good day.